Welcome to Next Play.
Well, welcome back to Next Play. We are very excited. Owen is not here today, everybody. My co-host is very sick, so wishing him well. But we are very excited to have Jason Brown on the show. He's a figure skater out of Highland Park, Chicago area. So so excited. Welcome, Jason.
Oh my gosh. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here, Kate.
Wonderful. So people that don't know you, I don't know where you've been, but very decorated figure skater and Olympian. So I'm just going to go over your background. So hang in there because every athlete I do this with is like cringing. But just let it rain. You know, my thing is just like, you did this, you deserve it. Let me talk about it. Okay. All right.
Okay.
So 2010 junior national champion, 2011, 2012 junior Grand Prix final champion, a two-time world junior medalist, 2012 bronze, and a 2013 silver, a 9-time holy Grand Prix medalist, an 8-time U.S. national figure skating medalist, including being the 2015 U.S. national champion. That's fun. Badass. Love it. A 2-time 4 continents medalist. I didn't even know that was a thing. 2020 silver, 2018 bronze, and then a 2014 Olympic bronze medalist as part of the team event. So congrats on that incredible resume.
Well, thank you.
Yeah,
I can't believe you went back all the way to 2010.
I mean, why not? You know?
I love it.
I mean, you started so young. I guess that's my question around, you didn't choose it at that young age, right? So kind of walk me into the young years where this sport chose you.
Yeah, so my sister was invited to a skating birthday party.
Of course she was.
Exactly, when she was in kindergarten. And my parents just put her in lessons so she would know how to skate for this party. My sister is the oldest and the first child. And I think my parents thought wait, is she supposed to know how to skate? Is this something that all kids do? So they put her in lessons just so that she could skate for this birthday party. But those lessons led to the annual ice show at the end of the year. Obviously, I'm the younger brother. I went to the ice show. I saw her perform, if you can call it that.
Yes, whatever that was. It was a performance.
Skate, but the lights and the music, and it was just oh, I want to do that. So then my parents put me in lessons. Just because I had saw my sister and I was like, oh my gosh, I want to do the ice show.
I love it.
Yeah.
And they're like, yes, you can.
Yeah. Right? They're like, sure, we'll sign you up. Yeah. And at that time, obviously it's just one of the many sports I did, but it ended up being the longest lasting of them all.
Yeah. So you had a coach at 5. Is that right? That young?
I did start. It was actually also funny. My sister was taking private lessons. Okay. And my parents were asked the coach, they're like, we know, we're not saying that we don't want you to teach our son, but we want our son to have the private lesson at the same time as our daughter. But, and so they asked this coach, just who do you recommend at the rink so that basically we could have lessons at the same time.
Sure.
So that my parents could get in and out of the rink as quick as possible. But we always laugh now because jokes on them. It's 25 years of being at the rink.
Honestly, the rink, my boys, my husband was like, I want them to play hockey because he did hockey. And I'm like, I really don't like being cold, but had to embrace the tying of the skates and the whole, I mean, it's a commitment. So
it's a commitment. It's a commitment for sure. And it crept up on us. It crept up especially, because my parents didn't know anything about the sport. So it was one of those things where it was I just started taking lessons, and then it was the private lessons just once a week. And then slowly we started doing 2 times a week, 3 times a week. I remember my dad swore he would never let me skate before school. It was that's ridiculous. Waking up at 5:30 to go to the rink. Who does that? Well, we did that.
You're like, we do. Actually, we do.
Exactly. So it was a slow progression, but it hit hard once it did.
So at what age, to me, I work with a lot of gymnasts, and there's some similarities that I see of this kind of young commitment to the sport and knowing pretty young whether or not you have it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So how old
Ugh.
were you then when it became? I mean, we talked about all you dominating really the juniors. I mean, it's true, right? I mean,
Ugh.
that's accurate. So, when for you were you like, this is my thing? At what age, do you feel like you have embraced it?
For me, it was really when I started high school. I think
Okay.
that's when I really started to embrace it. Like I mentioned, my parents knew nothing about the sport, and there was no social media back then.
Right.
So it wasn't the exposure that I had to skating was the TV when like, you'd catch some events and then
Sure.
just the local events that I would compete in. So I
Yeah.
don't think I really understood what people were doing, how to judge my progress against other people's progress. And like, it was just like, I'd compete locally and then I started competing regionally and then nationally.
Sure.
And so it was just like kind of a progression that way. But for me, it was at those 2010 US championships where I won the junior title.
Yeah.
And at that same event, the senior men were competing for Olympic spots.
Amazing. So you
And
saw,
yes, I was like
yeah.
seeing it firsthand and then also like starting to like realize that like, wait, I'm a junior. The next level is senior.
Right.
Oh my gosh. Like I
It could
hope
be
to
named.
be part of that group one day and competing on that ice. And at that time too, I had never competed internationally. So it
Yeah.
really wasn't until that 2010 junior championships then when I started to compete as a junior internationally. So and then that opened my eyes to a whole new world of the sport and
Yeah.
it grew from there.
So from the mental side of the game, which is obviously what we talk about on this podcast, every athlete, typically has a moment where they experience fear or failure, the
Yeah.
perception of failure, and that changes it. Where all of a sudden they recognize, I got to work on this thing. The mind. Do you have
Yeah.
a moment where that showed up for you? I mean, obviously, over a long
Oh my
career,
God.
there's several moments, but
It's
yeah,
so
yeah,
constant. It is something that
yeah.
first and foremost, I have to just say how lucky I feel that my coach really recognized that mental side of the sport and nurturing that. So I have worked with a sports psychologist once a week since I was 10,
Oh, plug that.
which
Good
is
on you.
like,
Hmm.
I cannot speak highly enough like about the importance of just having someone that you can talk to that's been there through your journey, just in terms of
Journey.
like what you're going, what's even if it's, I always laugh. It's the sports psychologist for me. It goes beyond just sport. Like you're
Yeah,
talking about what's going on in your life, what's going on, different social dynamics. Like it's really
sure.
talking through just what you're experiencing.
Right.
And they all play a huge role in sport as well. So first and foremost, I just have to say, like, I thank my lucky stars that I've been able to work with someone since I was 10 once a week.
That's impressive.
And
Mm.
I spoke to my sports psychologist yesterday. It was like my
Uh-huh.
last time that so it's still once a week. So first and foremost, like that's just a non-negotiable
Good.
like thing for me. And then when you talk about moments, I was a really terrified competitor when I was younger. Like I really hated it. I loved to perform, so I loved being out there in shows. This is just when I was younger,
Yeah.
like really, and I loved training. I loved training. I loved doing the work. And then I'd get to competition and I'd be like, I hate this. This isn't fun. I feel like I'm gonna throw up. Like it like just terrified me. And I started just that was kind of where it really sparked when I was 10 years old, really sparked the getting um
Over the fear of
over
that?
the fear and talking
Mhm. Yeah.
talking about it, facing it. That's when I started getting into mantras that I would say to myself. Like it was so like for me, the thing that I'd say over and over was preparation beats fear. Preparation beats fear. And it was just like a constant mantra that I just like lived by.
I'm
And
writing it down because we always ask. And
really?
I've compiled a
Okay.
list of mantras so
Oh my
that
gosh.
when I go talk to athletes, I'm like, and I just give them a bunch. And it's so cool to see what ones speak to them, right?
Yeah.
It
No,
spoke
so
to you and it worked for you. Yeah, go
yeah.
ahead.
And no, and just for me, it was just relying on my training and just being like, you've put in the work. It's just that feeling of putting in the work, and that will beat this fear of competing.
It's amazing.
And over time, I started figuring out kind of ways to cope with that fear. And now it's like crazy to me that I just like live for competition weeks.
Right. And the fear still shows up, right? And right?
The fear, the nerves, none of that has gone away.
Right.
It's definitely been more of like leaning in and figuring out ways to cope with it. And I don't want to say like ignore it, but like I think the biggest way, I guess, is the way of like coping with it and knowing
Yeah.
that it's just part of what I love to do and kind of embracing the challenge versus embracing the fear of failing.
Right. You know that adrenaline's coming, but you also, because you're prepared mentally too, you ride it. You know, like, here it comes.
Yes.
I'm
Yes.
excited, but I know what to do. So can you talk a little bit about how it's shifted from the early years till now? Or if it maybe has
Yes.
stayed the
Oh my God. No,
same? Yeah. Yeah.
drastically changed. When I was younger, and even like, I would even say like through almost all of my teenage years, everything to me felt contingent. So
Mhm.
like everything felt like it was do or die when I would like go to compete, or like if I made a mistake, it was the end all be all. Or if I wanted to, advance to the next level or get on the podium or do something within the sport, it was like if I didn't do it correctly, I was never going to do it.
Right.
And I think I put so much pressure on myself, um, and just this fear of letting everyone down if I didn't accomplish that goal. Um, and I think as I've gotten older, I've experienced a lot more. So like I've
Sure.
experienced a lot of success and I've also experienced a lot of failure. And like I kind of you go through this phase, I think, as an athlete growing up, when you realize like it's not formulaic. Like you could train and have the most incredible training days and have a bad competition. You could have the worst practice days and then rock it at the competition. Like I think it's like, I think for me it's all part of it, and it's making the most of the situations and staying present and being really just putting one foot in front of the other, like, and staying grounded in the moment.
I love that.
But for me, when I was younger, it really was, there was so much pressure I put on myself with every single moment because I felt like it led to the next moment. And I think as I got older, it's like A plus B doesn't equal C. Like it's
Yeah.
like it's a whole like,
You
it's
had
a
to experience it to know it, right? And
exactly.
that
Yeah.
wedded to the outcome, honestly, I see it so much where it's so out of your control, right? You're
Yeah.
speaking of the outcome is out of my control. The preparation
Yes.
is, but even if I prepare, think there's other factors that come in.
Yes.
And when you
Yes.
release that, right, and you accept, okay,
Yes.
I can control what I can, and the rest is going to be what it's going to be. And
Yes.
that's a
And
tough
that
thing. That's tough.
yes. And things don't have to be perfect.
Right.
Like I
That
think
was hard.
there's
Yeah.
this like range. There's always a spectrum of like what I can work with. And I think like when I would compete, it was like, I'd feel good, and then my like legs would start shaking. And I'm like, why am I like shaking? And like you stress over that. And you're like, okay, I can still do it with shaky legs. Like you start to be
Yeah.
like, okay, cool. But when I was younger, it was like, all the things that were going on in my body when I like would get nervous, I would like freak out rather than being like, and we can still do it. Like,
Yeah. Yeah. So what helped you? Love that your
yeah.
parents got you into sports, psychologists love that weekly. So but was there specific skills that you were more drawn to? Like I hear you talk about the feedback loop and the mantra, and that spoke to
Yeah.
you. But when you say grounding techniques, was there specific ones that you leaned into more?
Yeah. So for me, like I'd always like tap my fingers and like just say like right here, right now. And like use the words of like just be right here, right now, and just like keep kind of refocusing that way. I definitely all the time will listen to just like meditation type tapes just to like have my mind on something else. And then a big thing that I do, especially when it's like competition weeks, is that I literally list every single thing I'm gonna do that day, like to the T. So it's like it keeps me very focused on the next task at hand versus like, oh my God, 8 more hours to competition. Now there's 7 hours and
Yeah.
59 minutes. Like, going down the line. It's like, okay, right now I have whatever, shower, brush my teeth,
Yeah.
take my, supplements. And then it's like, okay, I'm gonna prep breakfast. Okay, I'm gonna have breakfast. I'm gonna so it's really like mapped out where it just keeps me really focused on the next task in front of me versus just it's that impending doom feeling. Like
Yeah, you're just like in the moment, basically,
yes,
right?
yes,
You're taught yourself to be in the moment.
yes.
Oh,
Exactly.
that's
Because
so
you
cool.
have no idea how you're gonna feel. So the fact that and obviously your mind is always gonna play tricks on you. And
Yeah.
it's kind of also leaning into that and knowing that and be like, haha, you're funny.
Yeah. You're funny.
Yeah, exactly.
You know the voice. I'm always
Yeah.
like, give that voice a name, so you
Oh
can
my
separate,
gosh, I love
right?
that.
Separate
Yes.
it from who you are. There feels like there is some perfectionism that lives in individual sports where,
Oh my God, so bad.
yeah. So can you speak? Is it your personality or the sport or both?
I think, oh my God, I think I do. It's definitely part of my personality. Like
Okay.
maybe it's like the sport brings it out even more. But like I was that kid in school that would work on like a poster board for a project. And like I accidentally made one little mark out of place and I'd be ripping it up, being like, it's ruined. And it's not even visible. And I would just have a full-blown meltdown, rip it up and start over.
Yeah.
Obviously you can't do that in sports. It's not like you fall on an element and you're like, stop the music, stop the music. That's
Even if you want to.
it's
Even
not
if you want
something,
to.
yeah, exactly, you can do. And so I think it's just also that was something that was just big. Those were just really big lessons for me. It's working within that imperfection and knowing that it's a constant, it's something that you're constantly striving towards. But I'm not saying that you'll ever achieve perfection, but that idea of you make mistakes, you're like, okay, I'll strive to be better next time. Or you
Sure.
learn from what you went through and I'm gonna apply it moving forward. And so that was a huge lesson within the sport. But yeah, I mean, we're a judge sport.
Right.
It's of course not only are you striving for perfection, but you're also striving for other people's
Validation. Yeah.
validation
Approval.
and their perception of what
Right.
perfect is.
Yeah.
And there's so many times where you think something wasn't right and they're they're like, it looked great to us. Or or
Right.
vice versa. You'll do things where that felt amazing. And then if you didn't get rewarded, you're suddenly start doubting yourself. Wait, was I awful? Was I too slow? Did I and you can
Right.
go down that rabbit hole as well.
Oh, for sure. I mean, mental toughness couldn't be more needed in a sport where you
Yes.
have, that
no,
balance.
for sure. And the reality of our sport, there is that art component. And art is meant to be picked apart. Art is meant to be some people love certain things that you do, some people don't. It's all about people's perspectives and their perception on the art, and everyone resonates with it differently. And so I think it's also hard when you're in, you talk about that mental side is also embracing that part of a piece of art is meant to be criticized, and at the same time it's you're kind of the art.
Right. Right. And you're wait, you're talking about me. That's
yes,
I mean, I like Taylor Swift. I don't know if you're a Swiftie or not. I'm okay.
100%.
Just making sure. I mean, we could
look
change
on my
the
Instagram.
podcast.
You'll see multiple reels lately have been all Taylor Swift songs.
Okay. Well, there we go. And she talked about that, and she said it kind of eloquently, like you did, and I believed her. It was authentic the way it was with
when she was I welcome the chaos.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
No, such a big props to her every day.
Props to her every day. Oh God.
But yeah, no, I really it's true. It's and it's what means if it resonates with her, the way that she I mean, and you hear her talk about this latest album and she just talks about, she's beaming when she talks about it, and it's just how much it means to her and how excited she is about it. And nobody should, no matter what anyone says, that feeling that she has shouldn't be taken away from her.
For sure. That internal look is something
yes.
else, right?
Yes.
Yeah. That's so cool. So I think what's a hard sell is doing mindset exercises sometimes. Is wanting a quick result, and want, I know. So I guess because you're just incredibly knowledgeable and just
No,
wanting,
no.
no, you really are, which is
Yeah.
so cool. Um, can you speak to the suffering being reduced the more you built that up?
I mean, I think like point blank, as you obviously also are probably aware, like the hardest part is starting. Like the hardest part is starting and getting into the habit of doing something.
Yes.
And so like it's just about taking those first steps and being consistent with it.
Yeah.
And then it becomes habitual and then it becomes mindless. Like
Right.
then it becomes part of your routine. It's something like even like what I mentioned with like the competing now, what makes me really enjoy the process of competition is that like I'm so consistent of what I do on those competition days that it's something that I look forward to. Like
Right.
it's something because it's just I don't want to call it as simple as clockwork, but in terms of the because obviously the nerves, like you're always
Right.
dealing with something new, but it's
Sure.
clockwork in terms of like I know what to expect. I know how to manage my time. You know, like I have my favorite minds, mental tapes set up and I
Sure.
have the like what I'm gonna listen to and I know I'm gonna talk to my sports psychologist, at a certain time. And like I think it's all it's just so you're so trained. It's part of the training.
It's part of the
And
training.
so I think if people can look at that side of it as part of the training as well, like I remember being a kid being like, you're gonna have me listen to some guy talk for 5 minutes about like now breathe and think about your head. And now we're gonna do a
Yeah.
body scan. And I'm like, why? Like
I,
what?
right.
A
Right.
body scan for what reason I should be training? Or
Right.
like I should be like why is this beneficial? I should be jumping rope right now. Like I think it
Yeah.
was like an interesting thing as a kid to understand that. But I think once you've experienced the nerves over and over again and how many times they have overtaken
Yep.
the experience. So like even like you can be super prepared and then realize, oh my gosh, like I didn't prepare mentally, or why did I let the nerves defeat me in this moment, or convince me that I wasn't as prepared as I was. And I think you go
Right.
through that enough that you're like, okay, like give me all the tools, tell me
Right.
what I can do, like I'm ready to lean in.
For sure. And you're human. So it's like you said, even prepared mentally, you're going to have things thrown at you,
Yes.
which one of the things that I learned about you in 2022, you had some ridiculous 33-hour.
Yes.
Is that right?
It
I
was
mean,
crazy.
that's crazy.
During that whole yeah, there was the huge COVID outbreak.
COVID.
Like it was a
Yeah.
crazy time. And then yeah, there was a snowstorm in Nashville, which never happens. But
And
yeah.
somehow you performed well.
Yeah, you know what? I think a couple things. It obviously speaks to the training.
Yeah.
I really was just like I was so locked in. Like, and when I say locked in, what I guess I refer to as like whatever happened, I was like so on to the next thing. So like it was like it didn't matter. You know when like an athlete or if you've experienced this, like when you're so trained, it's like you could have a bad day and it doesn't affect you because you're like, I'm trained.
Yes.
Like, and
Yep.
of course that's like such a big mental piece because I've had situations where like I've had like we call like if you do a clean run through, it means like you landed all your jumps and did all your
Yep.
spins. And
Yep.
so okay, so like there would be times where like I do like 5 clean run throughs in a row and then like I'd miss one element on the 6th and I'd be like, oh my gosh, like you fixate on that. But when you're so overly prepared and
Yep.
like you really feel confident, you can miss an element and you're like, yeah, cool. Okay.
Yep.
Like
Get
I'm
up
gonna
to it
nail
again.
this, I'm gonna nail the 7th or whatever,
Yep.
like run through, whatever it might be. And I was really in that place. So it was like, fine, the flight's delayed, no issue. I'm like, my coach got sick. I know how to handle this on my own. Like I think there were things where I didn't let myself question it or doubt it. It was like in complete action mode. And like I was gonna adapt. We were gonna get there. Like
And you
there's
did.
certain things that like weren't a question. It was like
Yeah.
I wasn't like after my 5th, canceled flight, I was like, okay, we're driving. What's the
All
plan?
right.
What's the time? Okay, we still have time. Great. Like I think
Yeah.
you get into the action mode and I wasn't gonna dwell. I wasn't gonna, be like, oh, poor me. this isn't the experience that I wanted. It
Yeah,
was like
you could have, but you had all the
100%.
skills, right? You had the skills. And that's the thing. There's this idea in the younger eye, view is you either have swag and confidence or you don't. And, you build the skill and confidence goes up. And so
Yeah.
I hear that in your voice as you kind of talk about the younger years of devastation
Yeah.
to now. So, right. So currently,
Mhm.
in 2018, you didn't make the Olympic team, right? And
Yes. Yeah.
okay. So can you take us back to that time and
Yes.
kind
Oh
of
my
what you
gosh,
did
for
and how you
sure.
responded? Yeah. Yeah. Tell us.
Oh my gosh. So I guess to give you the best kind of backstory is I made the 2014 Olympic team.
Yep.
And so it was something that it was my first year senior competing internationally. So I wasn't something that I was a teenager, like I wasn't expected to make the team, but at the same time like I was doing well enough that year where it was like there was like that rumblings of like, ooh, could I be the underdog? Like could I
Yeah.
like there was potential there, but it
Yeah.
wasn't like my goal at that point was like, oh my God, how cool would it be to like medal, in the on during the US championships. Like I had never even done that before
Sure.
in the senior level. And so it was just like, and then I was just like, oh my God, I get to skate at nationals in an Olympic year. Like that's so cool. Like that was really the focus. And there were 2 spots for the men on that team. Ended up that US championships unfolded. I ended up getting second. I ended up getting on the Olympic team.
Yeah.
Whirlwind, so exciting. But it shifted from that mindset of like, oh my gosh, like who knows what could happen, and walking in with that like unabashed, unabashful, just like joy of like not saying that people like of people not expecting things from me, but it was just like this was just this young kid and
For sure.
like
Yes.
we just like he's
Yeah.
just doing his thing and doing what he loves. And it became after I made the Olympic team, like, oh my gosh,
Expectation.
expectations,
Mhm.
pressure, what
Mhm.
other people started to see in me. It became even in it's interesting because things that now are a little bit more mundane at the time weren't. So like I started getting funding from US Figure Skating. And
Yeah.
so I like looked at like the funding as like, oh my God, if I don't live up to it, like they're putting money into me.
Oh, it
Like
shifted
like
again. Yeah.
it was those things were before like no, I'm not saying this sounds like this is not how I mean it, but like that feeling of like no one was supporting me.
I
But
got
when I
you. I know
mean that
exactly.
support,
I
I don't
get it.
mean
I fully get it.
I don't mean it like they weren't supportive. It like you just didn't feel like tied to anything. You were like good
Mhm.
or bad. Like I wanted to do well for my coaches and I want to do well for my parents. But it
Right.
wasn't like I want to do well for my country. Like,
Right.
or like well for like the federation or
Sure.
for like these other aspects. And like obviously I didn't have the same amount of fans and then really wanting to like do well for them. And I think in those 4 years from the 2014 to 2018, I also had this shift in mentality of everything up until 2014 was like year to year or event to event. And then you make an Olympic team and everything suddenly shifts to like, oh my gosh, in 4 years, like I need to be back on that Olympic team. And like, what do I need to do to make that Olympic team? And it like
Yeah.
suddenly went from this day-to-day process to like judging everything based on, well, will that help me make the team or not? And like this is like 4 years out.
Right.
Like
I know that's
and
the thing with Olympians that people don't, I think, appreciate, right? Is that preparation of
yeah.
the journey and the mind. How do you stay in the moment when,
Yes.
yeah,
Yes. And
yeah,
especially too, everyone starts
cheers.
talking to you like, oh my gosh, the next one. What about the next one? And like, world championships, that's every year. So you can really focus on the next and like the next one, you're like, so I think for me, those 4 years, while I had a lot of awesome success,
Yeah.
I also had my first injury from seriously overtraining because it was like I was like
Was that your stress fracture in your
that
fibula?
I'd had stress fracture exactly like just
Yeah.
different stress fractures. I hurt my back. Like it
Ouch.
was more
Yeah.
of like the feeling of I wanted to feel like I was doing absolutely everything in my power to like live up to those expectations. And
Sure.
so like trying my best each day wasn't enough. Like I had to
Yeah.
like and I got kind of sucked into that and I felt in a lot of ways like because I wasn't hitting certain goals that other people were
Mhm.
setting,
Mm.
I really felt like it started to really chip away at my self-worth. So
Mm.
I took the ice at the 2018 US championships and just like really felt like a shell of a person
Yeah.
and like really felt at that time just like a bit beat up and like overwhelmed and really fragile, I guess is the best way to put it.
Yeah.
Like you, someone could say something to me and I would feel like I needed to break out in tears. Like, it
Yeah.
was
I
like
would have
really,
just,
like,
I would have.
yeah, I wish it came after that event ended. I like
Yeah.
spent the next 6 weeks just crying nonstop. Like, I think it
Yes.
was just like that emotional release. But at the same time, and I never ever would wish it on someone. It was also the most freeing thing because it like hit that kind of, for me, that rock bottom.
Yeah.
And it was a pivotal moment in my career to be like, okay, I need to make serious changes.
Mm.
Like, I
Yeah.
need to
Take the
pick
power back,
myself
right?
back up. I need to take my power back. I'm
Mhm.
never going to let anybody or anything make me feel this worthless ever again. And
Yeah.
it was kind of like I like made this promise to myself and I picked myself up and I was like, okay, after kind of 6 weeks of just really stepping away from the sport and just um being with family, I was just like, okay, I really want to get back to it, but I want to do it differently. And so I like really kind of set off on a different path. And at the same time, um, while I was determined to do it differently and kind of start fresh in a lot of ways, the fear of not making it in 4 years or feeling like everything was dependent on if I could make now the 2022 Olympic team, the fear wasn't there anymore. I was like, oh, I've been through it. Like,
Right.
I missed the 2018 team. I lived through it.
I'm going to be okay.
I'm gonna be
Yeah.
okay, and I'm also never gonna let myself feel the way that I did then. So
Mm.
it's never gonna be that bad.
Right.
And so I think the fear moving forward also wasn't the same because it couldn't compare to that.
Yeah. One of the athletes, actually, I think it was my brother, that he said mental toughness was, defined by getting back up, and he played basketball in college. And I loved that. And that's what you're
Yeah.
talking about, right? Is like, you're going to experience failure and hard times. And,
Yeah.
whether it's injury physically or mentally, it is the getting back up and not doing it the same way. So that's such
Yeah.
a authentic, I really felt that
Yeah.
vulnerability in your answer. Yeah. That's cool. Yeah. How would you define mental toughness, I guess?
I mean, such a good question. I think it's just like about taking adversity and like looking it in the eye and being like, bring it on. Like, I
Ooh,
really
I love
think
that.
like
Yeah.
that's like, I always find like even when dealing with different issues, the shift now mentally and like talking, as you mentioned, with mental toughness, I like look at those setbacks and be like, okay, kind of like a little bit of like, so what? Now what? Like,
Yes.
what am I gonna? So, like, okay, cool. You're having an issue. So what? Now, what are you gonna do about it? Like, I think
Right.
I think that to me is mental toughness. It's being able to take any situation you're
So what,
in
now what? Mm.
and say, like, so what? Now what? Like,
You're giving me such good
oh
material.
no,
I'm just like, so what now? I gotta write that down.
no,
Excuse
please.
me.
Oh my god,
So
but
what
that's
now?
really,
What?
yeah, because I think like those are those things. Like, okay,
Yeah.
and I think it also gives you back the control because
Yes, it does.
it's like, okay, like that happened to me. And like I mentioned, yeah, like, so what are you gonna do about it now?
Yeah.
Like,
Well,
okay,
I
it's
mean,
happening, and now
now
what?
what? Well, I think it's so important that you took the time, by the way, to talk to me about this, because a lot of people, because of social media, only see the medals, and they
Yeah.
don't get they think it's linear, right? You started at juniors, you were made for it, you crushed it, maybe you didn't win some. But
Yeah.
when athletes like yourself that have been successful come out and say, no, this was work mentally and it wasn't a linear path. And
Yeah.
I think it's incredibly helpful,
Yeah.
in
And I
that
do
way.
think what's interesting too, as like just bringing up that social media piece, but as you mentioned about like the linear path, I think what I've found is the younger generation of athletes looking up, and similar to me, like when I was looking up to older athletes, you only see the good.
Yep.
Even if they're showing not the good, you like, for whatever reason,
You block it.
whether it's you're blocking it out or whether you're like I've had younger athletes come up to me like, I just like, you've always succeeded, or you've always, like, you're the most consistent. Like you've never done. I'm like, okay, I love the fact that you say I'm consistent, and like you say like
Yeah.
I'm like I love that that's how you remember me. But like go back and look at my performances. Like that isn't how it was. Like,
Right.
and it is interesting, but I think I feel like it was Federer who
Yeah.
said, like, who quoted that fact of like I've won like 51% of my points or something,
Yep.
to do with that. And I think it's interesting. People remember the wins,
Yep.
and
Because they
like,
want to. They
yeah,
want to.
which is an
Hmm.
interesting, and
Hmm.
you're like, you what you don't see is like the 49%, like,
Yeah.
yeah. So I just like always found that really fascinating too. But yeah, we see kind of, as you mentioned, we see how
Yeah.
you want to see.
Right? Perception is reality. Recently, I
Yeah.
was talking to my nieces and was talking about me in college and having, made some mistakes. And they were like, really? And they were riveted by it. And I thought, we need to do this more. Like, just talk to the younger generation.
Yes.
When you have them, when they say those things, like you have it all together, you this, to
Hmm.
just say, not really. Like,
Yeah.
I don't, but I've built the skills to be able to manage now when
Yeah.
things go to shit.
Yes. No,
Um,
100%.
okay, so
Yes.
what's next on what, you're preparing for the
Yes.
2026, 2026, not
Crazy. Yeah.
2026. I don't know. No. So how is that going? Tell us about it. What is that looking like? Yeah.
Oh my gosh, it's so exciting. We're in the thick of it. I like can't even believe how fast the time is going. We're in October. In next week is the 100 days out like marker, which is like mind blowing. Like I do not know how that is
Okay.
possible. But yeah, next Wednesday um is 100 days till Milan. Um
Do you learn new like skills, or is it
so
perfecting
in
what you have?
So for the most part, especially on Olympic years, you're kind of perfecting what you have, or
Okay.
perfect to your best ability.
Sure.
Perfection, we don't know
Yeah.
about
Yeah.
that,
We don't
but
know. We don't
yeah,
know.
we're
Yeah.
working towards it.
Yep.
But yeah, it's we in skating at least we choreograph two programs at the beginning of the year. And for us, the beginning of the year is like between May and August.
Okay.
We like work on new programs, and then it's all about training them. And they change and they'll adapt, and the patterns might shift around, and the order of the elements might change as we go. And we compete multiple times in the fall.
Okay.
So I just got back from Kazakhstan and Georgia,
Mm,
which was like really, really awesome. And then later next month, I'm doing an event in Lake Placid and Helsinki, Finland. So
amazing.
yeah, so really excited for those coming up. And then but what's crazy is like then it's gonna be December, and like our US championships, I think I leave like January 5th for that event. So it's like it's going fast, and it's exciting,
It
and it's
is.
just, and what's really cool about Olympic years is it's, especially for skaters, it's such an exciting time that there's a focus on our sport, and
Yeah.
we get to
Right.
talk to people, and we get to do podcasts like these,
Oh, I'm so
have
glad.
the discussions um when the spotlight is on us, which is really, really special, and something that I do not ever, ever, ever take for granted, and something that I really really embrace. And I love the fact that um, I am able to have opportunities like these.
Well, you have a pretty big social media following. Does it come from the sport, your contagious personality, your vulnerability? No, really. Like,
No, it's a
I
great
mean, I
question.
don't know.
I don't know. I don't know. It's something I do think it's grown over the years. I do think when you go to the Olympics, that does help,
Yeah.
like with the initial boost, and then it
Yeah.
probably like, it builds from there. So
Yeah.
I think like the majority of when I get bigger
Is during those
yes,
years.
is
Yeah.
during the like Olympic season, when you do have that spotlight. Of course, like there are random times where like certain videos will go viral and you'll get a couple thousand followers
Sure.
that way. Or whether it's more skaters
Yeah.
start skating and then
Right.
like start to follow other skaters. So It is, I guess it ebbs and flows, and depending on the experiences that you have and the exposure that we get come in. But yeah, I hope that people just enjoy the videos and the pictures, and it's
Well, I
neat
mean,
that
you are contagious.
Aw.
You know, some people just have it. I mean, you can't teach that. You just have it. Maybe Dancing with the Stars. I
Do you know
mean,
what?
what?
I would do it in a heartbeat. All you have to do, guys,
You heard it here.
ABC, come on, ask, and I'm there. Like
I feel like,
we don't have to, there's no debate, there's no question, there's
right.
no will you, won't you? It's
You will
if
do
the
it.
ask is there, I am there.
Okay. Well,
Okay.
I'm gonna reach out
So,
to my people.
okay,
And
put it out there. Put it out there. The more people, the better. I love to perform, and what better way to perform than doing it in a different medium? Like I would like bring it on.
you
Like,
would crush.
I would love it.
You're a crush. I've just loved having you on and you taking the time to really walk us through your story and your career. You have, you know, such great insight. So thank you so much,
No,
Jason, for being
anytime.
on. And we will definitely be following you this year, next
Oh.
year, and beyond, and on Dancing with the Stars. So thank you again.
That means so much. Thank you. Thank
Join us.
you.
Yeah, join us next time for a new guest and a new episode of Next Play. In the meantime, please check out his socials. What's your social again? Because
At Jason B Skates.
yes, please check that out and check us out at puresportsmindset.com. Also, if you're looking for a mindset coach, you heard it here. He works with one weekly. Check us out at puresportsmindset.com. So thanks so much. See you next time.